may not know it, but there's two sides of riding in New Jersey. There's a gritty inner city Jersey that we all know, but the real fun riding in Jersey is places like Hamilton. It's a leafy green suburb that's the home of Atco Dragway and 10-time world championship motorcycle drag racer Rickey Gadson.
Hey, Mike.
Rickey G, what's up, man?
Man, I thought I heard somebody come up.
How you been, brother?
How you doing?
Good, good. Where are you coming from?
Just getting back home from Virginia Motorsports Park. I had a race this weekend.
If you didn't know it, Rickey is the motorcycle racing what Don Garage was the quarter-mile cars. Let's see what's going on in the garage, man. What are you working on?
Well, in the garage, I got the bike that I was telling you about.
Yeah, big history to this bike, huh?
This is my father's 79 KZ 1300. This was his.
Rickey's dad was a drag racing and street racing legend around Hamilton in North Philly. Raced for years, rode in the street, he rode track, he was fast both places.
My dad coined it best. Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. Michael Jackson was the king of pop. My Uncle Skip was the king of the streets.
He was a fast rider, and he was crazy. He rode across that Ben Franklin Bridge the wrong way. That's when they started calling him suicide.
He had that name in New York. Because he would come down New York, they tell me, standing on the seat of the motorcycle with his hands spread.
Hey, Mike, can you help me put this on the lift?
I sure will.
Let's see if I can roll this puppy. It weighs a ton.
Still rolls, though.
It still rolls. How about that?
Yeah, look how big it is. Kawasaki's KZ 1300, huge bike, literally and figuratively. It weighed 700 pounds.
It was the first six-cylinder motorcycle that Kawasaki had ever made. That's 6 cylinders. 6.
It was built to compete with Honda CBX, one of the fastest bikes of the time.
Very first time I went down the drag strip was on this motorcycle.
How he even held it up or got his legs over it, I'll never know.
Tire still bald?
Oh, yeah. Balder than I am.
I burnt that tire out. It's bald because of me. That's my 30-year-old tire.
Wow.
It's the exact same tire that I went down the drag strip on in 1983.
It's a bit of a mind blower looking at the bike that launched Rickey's career. I mean, 10 Pro Star World Championships in drag racing, and here's the bike that he used to steal from his dad and race with his friends at night. You think you'd ever see it again?
Me? No. I saw it out there. I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And tears came to my eyes because I never thought I would see this again. This is the actual motorcycle my father died on. Like every other day, he was on his way home to pick me up. There was a side street. This boy was backing up out the side street and backed right in front of my father. And one of the kids was like, yo, man, your pop had an accident around the corner on his motorcycle, and I think and he did like that. When I saw all the police cars there, all the lights and sirens and everything, I'm pushing through the crowd, and I just remember praying in my mind, please, when I see the motorcycle, don't let it be my father's. When I got to the point where I could see the front of the motorcycle jammed up against the car, I saw it was my dad's bike, got around the car, and I saw my dad laying on the ground. It doesn't matter how much work goes into it or how much time it takes. Right now, what's important to me is to restore this motorcycle.
You can't put a price on that?
Can't. I'm excited about it.
He died 35 years ago. He was and still is one hell of a legend.
I wish I had something from your father or grandpa or something when they passed on to like build.
Knowing the peril that's wrapped around it. Emotionally, this thing is a 10.
You need any help tearing this thing apart?
Well, actually, my buddy Brendan should be here any minute. I called him to come over and, speaking of the devil, there he is.
Rickey realizes that, like all the best racers, you're gonna need help. And then, enter Brendan.
Rickey actually got this bike back when I was still working at his shop. And I've been dreading this day ever since.
You have? I haven't. I'm actually excited about it.
No, you know I like a challenge.
I'm sure he's more skilled than I am. I'm out.
Wish I could go with you, but I got work to do.
All right, well, you go ahead.
When I got it back, couldn't wait to restore it. Always said in the wintertime, I'll have time to do it.
I knew how important it was to him. So when he called me, said that it was time to get this bike built, I said, hey, let's get it done. Where are we putting the nitrous tank? That's why.
I just want to put it back to original.
I feel like we're gonna need a lot of WD-40 and a big hammer.
Don't be
This bike sat outside at least 20, 25 years, partially disassembled. The thing is absolutely filthy. I feel like I should probably be wearing masks.
It's a rusty bucket of bolts that's been exposed to the weather for over 20-something years. Everything on it is rusty. You mean rust is not good?
Well, in some applications, I suppose. I'm surprised how many of these bolts are still coming out.
We had to CRC a lot of bolts, but they came right on out. Not one bolt broke off when we were taking it off. The antifreeze looked brand new. Like, how is that possible, you know?
This will be very cathartic for Rick to give him a kind of a connection to his father that he hasn't had in a long time.
I want to see what's under here. Listen, Brendan, this is the reason why it's apart. The very first time I took his motorcycle to the drag strip with my friends, made 2 passes, on the 3rd pass it blew up.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. It spun a bearing, and we sold it apart. And I got it back in boxes, so I would believe that no one's ever done anything with it. How do you know that was the bike? I knew what color blue we had painted it. My dad put a radar detector on the front of the bike. It was there. The orange on the front of the radiator screen was there. It was just a real emotional day to get that thing back. You ain't never work on nothing this old, huh? You think you can put it back together?
Yeah, I mean, it's got the up and down parts here, and then the spinny bit in there, and then the make it go parts in here, so.
The make it go fast parts in there. If we can rebuild this one, we will. If not, I'll find one.
To my certifications, I can now add paleontologist.
He liked to order his stuff. He never had nothing plain. It was a custom, very custom KZ 1300. The paint was absolutely one of a kind. He had it custom painted, and it was a one-of-a-kind deal. So,
Ricky's dad's bike, what did it have on the tank? A pussy cat.
the same cat that was on the van was painted on the side of the bike. My mom had a motorcycle with a mouse with high heels and a skirt, you know, so cat chasing the mouse type thing. That's the tank.
It is.
That's the tank. A lot of rust on it.
Yeah.
Because the bike had been sitting outside for so long, apart, I didn't know what was salvageable. There's a fender.
Okay.
Again, another rusted deal. Is it worth the headache of trying to fix this?
Man, that fender was trash. There was absolutely nothing I could do with that. If we're able to locate a fender, I say we locate a fender.
How about if we can't locate a fender?
This Kawasaki KZ 1300 was once the top cat in the Philly motorcycle scene.
Very first time I went down the drag strip was on this motorcycle.
Some people believe a bike like this is cursed.
His dad actually died on this bike.
Want to keep these because kind of going for the way my dad had it. I'm going to make this as original as it can be. You know what? I think I messed up, dude.
You told me to keep the emblems,
I
right?
know.
There's parallels here to the Stephen King movie Christine, you know, where the car wanted to be rebuilt. I mean, it killed his dad, for Christ's sake.
Wow, Brendan, look at that, dude.
That's a bike, Rick.
But he's determined to ride it again and race it again.
I plan to go back out and see if I can beat that guy's $11.99 with it.
RG, what is this?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Wow.
Hey, Mike.
This is the same bike from before?
This is the actual motorcycle that my father died on. Now, can you believe it? Did you see the bike? It came out exactly the way I was hoping that it would.
The paint looks amazing. Everything polished up well. The pipes look good. The same pipes that his dad rode with, and everything just came together really nicely, and it looks really good.
Imagine the emotional journey you went through on this, huh?
Building it,
Yeah, seeing it back to life.
seeing it like from the rust bucket it was,
Yeah.
taking it completely apart, and then piecing it back together.
Yeah.
It was definitely emotional.
Wow. So you guys did the original paint job over again?
Yeah, this is actually a duplicate paint job of what my dad did in 1979 with a little 2014 flare on it.
How could you not? How could you not? That is part of the story of the bike. You need that pussy cat, you know?
I just can't thank Killer Creations enough for doing the airbrush work. He's in the middle of doing work for a movie. He stopped to knock this airbrush work out for me.
You get some people coming to see the bike today who haven't seen this in, what, 30, 40 years?
The people that's gonna see this bike today have not seen this motorcycle in this condition since his funeral procession in 1979.
Wow. This KZ 1300 is one big motorcycle. It still weighs 655 pounds. It's putting down 120 rear-wheel horsepower. In the condition you saw it in first, it's worth about $1,700 bucks. Today, it's priceless.
Look, I got My friends here and my dad's friends here, I can't wait to see their faces. And my sister, this is gonna be an emotional day for her.
When was the last time you saw this bike complete?
In 1979, in October, when my dad passed away.
Wow. Do you remember much about it?
It's the fastest bike they ever made. This bike was the bike that really got me into bikes. I feel a lot of things. I feel excited. I feel sad.
We are 30 years
Blew
later.
it out.
Back again. What do you think? When you see it like this?
Wow.
I was listening to their reactions, and everybody was like, oh, wow, look.
I feel happy, you know, because, you know, it's my dad's bike.
Does it look pretty much as you remember it?
Yeah, it looks pretty much the same. I mean, there's some new twist to it.
Yeah, we did a hell of a job.
He did, it looks good.
Everybody here, I'm sure there's a lot of people here that remembers my dad when he rode this bike, and I made it as exact as I could.
Brought back a lot of memories, good and bad.
It's amazing what Rickey done did with it.
It's kind of run chills to you, because nobody had this bike.
Wait till the bike stops.
You know, it's like this bike.
It did what I wanted it to do, but more importantly than that, it did it for me.
You want to see Rickey light this thing up, huh? You ready?
In '83, when I was out here, I was racing the bike, and there was a guy here who was real kind of cocky. We ran, and he whooped me. I plan to go back out and see if I can at least beat that guy's 11.99 with it.
This is the greatest thing ever.
Hey, Rick, if I had a helmet, I'd go along with you.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. He got that. That ain't bad for 30 years later. At all.
This is the very first time I really rode the bike since back then, and it just took me way back and reminded me of all the things that was going on back when I used to ride this motorcycle.
I just wanted to see it go down the track, and that bike sat for 30-some years to get it down the track, and the time that he did make it was amazing. Listen to that bike home. Oh, 1208.
It kept bogging on the start line, but it wasn't me, and it wasn't the power of the motorcycle. These carburetors are real funny when you crack the gas and get back on it. It dies on the starting line from the slide.
They don't have springs.
To drop back down. They're weighted, so they drop quickly. So as soon as you get on the throttle hard, you can't get the slides to open fast enough.
Go 1,000 RPM more.
Bring him up high and you got to keep it in the power beam.
Okay. He could run this thing down here all day, as long as we change the oil once in a while and make sure that everything's the way it should be. Yeah, he can keep running this thing.
Wow.
The bike has it in it. It absolutely does.
That's all she got in her for right now.
Is it?
Yeah, I was trying to hear that.
That's not something you normally hear from Rickey, but he was building it to honor his dad.
This is my dad's bike. He didn't want me racing it in '83. This bike will never see the drag strip ever again after today. It would have really been icing on the cake had it broken to the 11s, but I'm gonna take that 1203, and it really didn't matter to me what the bike ran. It's the fact that the bike is running.
What's a happy ending to you? You rode it, you're smiling.
I'm
It's like
smiling.
good memories. You know what you should do.
I'm definitely trying not to let the sweat come out my eyes.
I hear you.
It's emotional for me. I'm trying to keep everything dry. Takes me back to my father, seeing it on the trailer at the funeral. It's just a good day.